9 knockouts. Ranked from brutal to unforgettable. Stay until number 1, because the most savage finish on this entire list is the last one. And once you've seen it, you'll understand why nobody, not wrestlers, not MMA fighters, not TV presenters, ever truly understood what they were signing up for when they said yes to Butterbean.
Look at the bean walk across the ring.
The men's business tonight.
Good right hand by Butterbean. Clark trying to fight back. That's it. Clark is down and out of the ring. Fight is over.
Number 9, Tijuana, Mexico. Tim Burgoon across the ring. No world title. No famous venue. No famous opponent. Just Butterbean in his American flag trunks in a foreign country, doing what he always did.
The De La Hoya Chavez fight, he was on the undercard, and now he's in full gear.
He walked forward. Burgoon threw punches. They didn't matter. Butterbean closed the distance, landed the right hand, and Burgoon went down.
Oh, he's hurting now, right to left. Tim Burgoon goes down on one knee.
Short distance, tight punch, no wind-up. That right hand is the entire story of Butterbean's career in one motion.
Not able to deal with the punches of Butterbean, and the interesting thing is, even though he throws these in kind of a wide looping fashion, because he is so big.
Number 8, April the 12th, 1997. Thomas and Mack Center, Las Vegas. Ed White stood across the ring from Butterbean with a belt on the line. The IBA Super Heavyweight Championship. A title his promoter Bob Arum had personally convinced the IBA to create. Not because it existed before, because Butterbean existed, and a man winning that many fights deserved something to put around his waist. White lasted into the second round. He didn't see the end of it. Butterbean stopped him with a right hand and became a world champion. A man who only fought 4-round bouts, who started in a Toughman tent in Alabama, standing in Las Vegas with a belt. He made 5 defenses of that title. Then he just relinquished it, a division invented for him, because Butterbean was already moving on. Number 7, June 2003. Saitama Super Arena, Japan. Butterbean's first ever kickboxing fight. Different rules, different sport. Kicks now on the table. His opponent, Yusuke Fujimoto, a man who would later become K1 World Grand Prix champion, 62 seconds. That's how long a future world kickboxing champion lasted against Butterbean in round 1. Butterbean had never thrown a kick in competition. He didn't need to. He walked forward, the same way he always did, and the right hand found its target. New country, new sport, same result. Numbers 6 through 1 are where it gets brutal. Number 6, James Thompson. British heavyweight, hard as anything. Durable, known for coming forward and not going down easy. The kind of fighter who makes other men quit before he does. Butterbean fought him in MMA in 2006. Butterbean still had the right hand. And Thompson, for all his toughness, still had a chin. Butterbean came forward, same as always.
Oh, that's about it. I mean, that's about it. Butterbean has done it.
The finish came quickly. Thompson went down, and Butterbean walked back to his corner, doing what he always did after a finish. Absolutely nothing. No celebration, no theatrics, just another man on the canvas. Number 5, Peter McNeely had stood across the ring from Mike Tyson. Not many men can say that. He charged at Iron Mike on the biggest comeback fight in boxing history, and he lasted 89 seconds. McNeely walked into the fight with Butterbean in 1999 weighing 215 pounds. Butterbean weighed 315, 100 pounds. The gap between them wasn't a weight class. It was a different category entirely. McNeely tried to outbox him. Moved, jabbed, stayed on the outside. It worked, right up until it didn't. Referee Jay Nady stopped it with 1 second left in round 1. 1 second. McNeely's corner erupted.
Just before the bell.
Didn't matter. He lasted longer with Mike Tyson than he did with Butterbean. Think about that, before numbers 4 through 1. If you're new here, subscribe to the KO Space. Every week we cover the knockouts that change combat sports. The finishes nobody saw coming. From champions you thought you already knew. The best is still ahead in this video. Hit subscribe and stay with us. Number 4, December 1995. And here's something you might not know. When asked to name his favorite knockout from a 58 fight career, Butterbean didn't pick WrestleMania. He didn't pick the title win. He picked this one, Louis Monaco, only Butterbean's second professional fight. Monaco walked toward Butterbean and Butterbean threw a single right hand.
There goes Monaco.
Monaco went down and didn't move. The referee didn't count. He waved it off immediately. Monaco was motionless at the edge of the ring. Butterbean said years later the only reason he finished it so fast was because he needed to catch a flight. He'd been on the road for 3 months. If he didn't knock Monaco out by round 2, he'd miss the plane home. So he went out there and, his words, demolished him. That man, Louis Monaco, went on to fight Vitaly Klitschko, Buster Douglas, Trevor Berbick, Layman Brewster, one of the most active journeymen in heavyweight history. And Butterbean wiped him out in round 1 because he had a plane to catch. Numbers 3, 2, and 1 are where this list stops being impressive and starts being legendary.
Still undefeated, Mr. Butterbean.
Number 3, 18 seconds. James Baker, 1996. The walkout music had barely finished. Baker walked toward Butterbean. Butterbean threw a right hand at roughly the distance you'd shake someone's hand. Baker went down and the fight was over.
Has him down in the first round. Baker, by the way, 1 and 5.
18 seconds. Total fight time. You've already taken 2 breaths since this fight started. It's already done. That right hand, short, tight, almost casual, is the same punch Butterbean had been throwing since he was an unknown construction worker in Alabama. Same distance, same angle, same result. Number 3, some fights don't need any more time than that. Numbers 2 and 1 are a different level entirely, and number 1 is still the most shocking finish on this list. Number 2, this one isn't a boxing match. It isn't MMA. It isn't even a sanctioned fight. And yet it might be the most watched knockout on Butterbean's entire record. Tens of millions of views, referenced constantly, and the man on the receiving end walked into it voluntarily. 2002, Jackass, the movie. Johnny Knoxville wanted to get punched by Butterbean in a working department store, in the middle of a shopping day, in front of actual shoppers. He asked Butterbean beforehand, "Will it hurt?" Butterbean said yes. Knoxville said okay. Butterbean threw the same short right hand he had thrown in every Toughman contest since 1989. Knoxville dropped. The camera caught him on the floor, eyes closed, completely out, snoring.
Der ist raus.
He said afterward he didn't know which way was up for several seconds. It wasn't a performance, it wasn't staged. It was a right hand from a man with 58 professional knockouts on his record.
Steh auf! Noch einmal!
Du ermöglichst mir jetzt zum letzten
Noch
Mal.
einmal! Und dann darf der Schmerz einsetzen.
Knoxville just happened to be the most watched, most shared Butterbean moment in history, and it didn't even happen in a ring, but number 1 did. And unlike Knoxville, the man who stepped in front of Butterbean that night was a trained heavyweight. He knew what was coming. He just couldn't stop it. Number 1, George Limburger, March 2000, Akron, Ohio. Butterbean's IBA super heavyweight title on the line. 19 seconds, not the right hand this time. Everything on this list ended with that same short right hand. The punch Butterbean had been throwing since he was nobody. But Limburger got the left hook. Clean, flush, no warning. Limburger went down and didn't come back up in time. 19 seconds. And here's the thing. When journalists and fans asked Butterbean which punch he was most proud of in a career that spanned over 100 fights, he pointed to this one. Not WrestleMania. Not the Knoxville clip that went around the world. This one. A left hook in Akron, Ohio, that most people never even saw coming. That's what made Butterbean different. He didn't need the big stage. He didn't need the famous opponent. He just needed 4 rounds and 1 opening. And 19 seconds was usually more than enough. 9 knockouts, 9 different opponents, 4 sports, 4 decades. The thing that connects every single one of them. From the Tuffman tent in Alabama to a boxing ring in Akron, Ohio, is what happens when a man nobody truly prepared for gets within range. 58 professional knockouts. A right hand that never changed, and a left hook that nobody saw coming. Eric Butterbean Esch, king of the 4-rounders. The most dangerous bald man in American flag trunks who ever lived. If this is the first The KO Space video you've watched, subscribe. Every week we rank, break down, and relive the knockouts that defined combat sports. Your next favorite champion is already waiting. Don't miss it.